to the Tapping World Summit 2019. I'm your host, Jessica Ortner. By listening to this interview, you agree to the terms located at thetapping.solution.com/disclaimer. We hope this interview helps you become a happier and healthier you. Enjoy. The to-do list. It seems to never end, never leave us alone, and never even give us a break. It always seems to be there in the back of our mind, oftentimes not allowing us to be present with others, to ever feel accomplished, or to ever feel relaxed outside of work. And the worst part is, no matter how many things we check off, all too often we still feel unproductive and unsuccessful with our days. And then we feel behind in reaching our goals with our job, business, and in creating financial success. Well, here's the good news. It doesn't have to be this way. When you learn how to improve your clarity, focus, and productivity and get rid of the things holding you back, you get to make it so that you're not run by a to-do list, but rather you get to work on things that improve your financial success and make you feel fulfilled in the process. And today, you're going to find out what it is that makes the difference between those that create financial success and those that get stuck in the weeds of their to-do lists. Today, I'm going to be talking to someone who knows how to create clarity, focus, and productivity to create financial success better than almost anyone I know. And how do I know this, you may be wondering? It's because he's been behind so much of the success here at the Tapping Solution over the last 11 years. It's none other than my very own middle brother, Alex Ortner. Alex also speaks to coaches and entrepreneurs from around the world on both the logistical aspects of growing a business, like marketing and operations, and the mental aspects such as emotional management, productivity, and peak performance. I'm thrilled to finally welcome him. Welcome, Alex.
Hi, Jess. It's really good to be here.
This is going to be a lot of fun. I'm excited.
Yeah, I'm just wondering, why I've waited around for so long, 10 years, to finally do one of these interviews.
I don't know, but I'm happy that you're here, and it's an important topic, and I know that you coach so many people on this specifically. So when it comes to clarity, focus, and productivity, these are things that we all want more of. But why is it so essential to take time today to focus on and improve these specific qualities?
Yeah, that's a really good question, and it really comes down to a number of things. But there are two important sides when answering that question. One side is more logistical, and one is more emotional. So on the logistical side of things, it's important to remember that everyone has the same amount of hours in a day, right? So if you want to become more successful, it's about improving what you actually get done in a day and how impactful that work is in moving you towards your goals faster. That's what everyone wants, right? So, and when I think about action, I like to think about it in two terms: action and impactful action, because there is a really huge difference. One involves being busy, and the other involves getting things done that make an impact towards reaching your goals. And so in order to be able to take impactful action, you have to be able to get clarity on what will make a difference for you. Clarity in what your goals actually are, goals that will be both fulfilling and financially rewarding, and what impactful action you need to take to get there. And then once we create clarity, it's how do we stay focused on a day-to-day basis to continually take impactful action so that we can create real productivity rather than busyness. And that's a really key distinction there. Action creates busyness, but impactful action creates real productivity and moves you towards your goals.
This is so brilliant, because I have been in this position where I'm doing emails and a million things, but that one big thing that I have to get done, it's so easy to put off. So I'm excited that we're really diving into this. So that is the logistical side. I mean, that makes complete sense. It's the logical side. Let's talk about the emotional side.
Yeah, this is really the key part of it, which is where I think so many people miss out on how they organize their day and their time. So, on the emotional side of it, it's how do we make it so that at the end of the day or at the end of the work week, we can actually shut off and enjoy our evening or weekend or vacation. So it's how can we make it that we're not constantly running that to-do list in our mind so that we can be present with others, be present with ourselves, and really enjoy our time off because that's really the goal, right? To be able to enjoy our lives, whether we're successful yet or not, or financially successful yet or not, because we don't strive for success to get something. We strive for success to feel something, right? So let me ask you this, Jess. Have you ever had a day where you worked 8 hours in a day and at the end of the day you felt like you got nothing done and you felt like you just had to keep working to do more? You ever had a day like that?
Yes, completely.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we all have. And then on the flip side, have you ever had a day where you maybe worked 4 hours but felt like you moved mountains with the work you did in that time? And afterwards, you were able to disconnect from work and enjoy your evening. Have you ever had that happen as well?
Totally. And there's like this pride.
There's this pride, exactly. You just feel so much better, but you worked 4 hours one day, felt productive and good, and worked 8 hours another day and felt like you didn't get enough done. So, yeah, it's so important to remember that a big part of creating clarity, focus, and being more productive is so that we can actually switch off at the end of the day and actually enjoy our lives. And that's really what understanding this emotional side of it is all about.
Right. Okay, that makes sense. So then how do we make that happen? What stops us from doing the tasks that really move us forward?
Yeah, this is really such an important question. So I want to break this down and then get to doing some tapping because I just believe tapping is so incredibly effective for shifting us to be able to be more productive. So I'm going to outline a process and then we're going to actually go through this process. And
Okay.
this is a process I recommend doing every day, so it has to do with our daily process, but it can also be used if you're working on, let's say, your weekly tasks or your monthly tasks or goals or yearly goals. You can use the same process as you'll see as we go through. So, and I know, when I recommend doing this every day, I know some people might be thinking, what, every day? And my answer to this is simple. Only do this on the days where you want to be productive. On the days where you want to just be busy and feel disappointed at the end of the day and feel unproductive at the end of the day, then don't do this. Skip it on those days. But the days where you want to feel productive and feel good at the end of the day, do this. Definitely do this. And I know I'm being a little bit cheeky, as my wife Karen, who's English, would say. She'd say I'm being a little cheeky, but it's the reality. Right? So creating the success in the life you want is about consistency. Anyone can be productive for one day, but can you be productive all week? Or can you even just increase the number of productive days versus busy days you have in a year by 10%? And really, what kind of impact would that have on your life if you were able to make even just a 10% increase in how productive you were versus busy? So I promise you, if you do this every day, you will see a massive difference. Remember, it's no use just being productive one day. It's about consistency. And when you do this, it should really be first thing in the morning. This is a morning process. It will transform your productivity for the day. And as a result, your financial success. Remember what I said before, this is something you do every day, but you can use the same process when you're figuring out your yearly goals or your monthly goals or your quarterly goals, whatever it might be. Right?
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, that definitely makes sense. And it's one of those things where when you do it consistently, it just becomes a habit and it's a lot easier than people might think.
Yeah, and if there's one thing I've learned about successful people or being successful, it's not necessarily that they are smarter or more educated, it's that they have better habits. So the more you can incorporate habits that actually keep you on track and keep you productive and keep you towards your goals, the more successful you'll actually be. So let's go ahead and jump in. Okay, so this is actually it's a 5-step process. And so step number 1 is to organize your tasks for the day, right? Seems kind of simple. And the point of this is to create clarity. And funny enough, a lot of people don't even do this first step of organizing their tasks for the day. And there are a lot of theories on how to do this best. And you can of course do the one that's right for you, but I'll share a couple of things that I do. So personally, there are 2 critical things I do in organizing my tasks. Number one, I break up my days into people days, where I'm more responsive to emails and calls from each team member and other people that I work with, and push days, where I'm pushing my goals forward in a big way and ignoring other people. That's right. There are days where I ignore other people entirely to get the important things done. So it's good.
I can attest to this. This is
yes,
true.
Yes, I do ignore your text messages, and you text me back. Why aren't you answering me? But it's important to do that, and I know it depends on your situation. I'm not saying to ignore your boss if you have a boss, or to ignore people where you have to. But the more you can set it up like this, even with your boss or whatever your work situation is like, to let people know, hey, this is how I work in order to be productive, so I can be focused and stay on task. So that's number one. Number two is I organize my day into the top 3 to 6 tasks at most that I want to accomplish that day. And I ask myself a really important question. If I accomplished these things today, would I feel productive at the end of the day? So I want to say that again. If I accomplish these things today, would I feel productive at the end of the day? And the reason why this is so important is because what I'm doing in asking this question is I'm setting up the rules for success for that day. So instead of working 8 hours or 10 hours in a day and getting to the end of the day and feeling unaccomplished because you had internal rules running you that you weren't aware of and you don't know why, but you just don't feel successful, you can actually set the rules of what will make you feel successful. And so I look at those to-dos, and even if it's one task, and I go, if I finish that one task, I will feel successful at the end of the day. It is such a critical component to how I organize my day every day. So those are the two things. Break up my days into people days and push days, and I organize my days into the top 3 to 6 tasks at most, and I ask myself that question. If I accomplish these things today, would I feel productive at the end of the day?
Right. So I do like the idea of, like you said earlier, that sometimes even if it's just one thing. So I know that with my to-do list, I always circle that one thing, because that one thing is the one that we always procrastinate on. Yeah. Right? Because it tends to take a little bit more energy, but we feel more accomplished when it's done.
Yeah, you can accomplish 7 easy tasks or that one big task, and you will feel better at the end of the day accomplishing that one big task. And really, this process in the morning is about being honest with yourself about how you will feel at the end of the day based on what you accomplish. So, a lot of times it gets you to do those tough tasks first.
And I do think it's worth mentioning that, and it's actually worth reiterating because you've already mentioned this, that even if you're working in a different company where maybe they have a different structure, this is a system that not only works within work, but it can work within your personal goals that you have in your life.
Absolutely.
So you can make this fit into whatever your lifestyle is.
Yeah, I'll tell you, I actually have a journal where I do this process, and I do this process for my work goals and my work tasks in my personal tasks, because I've got a lot, I've got 3 kids. I've got a lot of personal tasks that I would like to put off during the week, and I don't have time, I don't want to do it. And so I ask myself the same question with my personal tasks of what things would I want to accomplish, so that at the end of the week, I feel like I'm doing the right things for our family, for my marriage, for all the personal aspects of my life as well. So
right.
Really, really great point.
All right. Well, step 1 on its own is incredibly valuable, but we have more steps ahead of us. So tell us about step 2.
Yeah, and step 1 is a more, cerebral part of it in terms of creating clarity. Step 2 is really what I get excited about when we start to incorporate some tapping. So step 2 is to calm down the nervous system and release the overwhelm or stress or anxiety or any other negative emotions that we're feeling. And this is about creating focus, because here's the thing. We are living in the busiest period in history. The speed of life has increased exponentially over the last 100 years, but the evolution of our brains has not increased exponentially, which means that we have constant stimulus from news, from the internet, from our phones with text messages or emails or social media, and that leads us to so often be in a state of stress, anxiety, and overwhelm. And so our fight or flight system is being triggered. And when our fight or flight system is triggered, which you know about, Jessica, you talk about this in your books, and Nick talks about it in his books, that when our fight or flight system is triggered, the amygdala in the brain is triggered and blood flows away from our brain and into our body, and we are literally not as smart, not as resourceful, and not as capable as we would be if we were not in those states of panic or overwhelm or stress or anxiety.
You really can't stress your way out of a problem. Just doesn't work. That's like where we all go, right? Like there's a problem and we're like, let me stress. But that stress, like you said, it really holds us back. So when we gain this awareness, how do we figure out what to tap on for ourselves specifically?
Yeah, so I mean, number one, just actually making the space to ask ourselves these questions and be conscious of the fact that our emotions drive our productivity and our ability to think is so important. It's just you're winning half the battle just in doing that,
Mm.
because most people are just rushing into their day, doing whatever it takes. So just to be able to stop and acknowledge what's going on is an amazing process in its own. So what I do is I ask myself a couple of questions, and I got one negative question, one positive question. The positive question to kind of redirect me to where I want to go. So the negative question I ask is there anything causing me stress, anxiety, or overwhelm this morning? And if so, what is it? So I can release it right now. And I also ask a little bit of a follow-up question, which is, are there any other negative emotions holding me back this morning? And if so, what are they? So I can release them right now. And if you notice, at the end of that question, I not only ask what is the negative emotion I'm feeling, but I also, in the question itself, say, so I can release it right now. Because I like to set an intention with a question that I'm bringing these things up to actually release them. And so then the positive question that I ask is, what positive emotions am I choosing this morning? And if I'm in a really negative state, this question kind of annoys me at times. I don't want to answer it. I'm not there yet. So sometimes you can't answer it until afterwards. So let's do some tapping now. So I'm going to ask that you take a deep breath in. We'll stop. Take a deep breath in. And we'll breathe out. And we'll ask that question again. Is there anything causing me stress? And if you're listening to this in the morning, you can think about your day. If you're listening at nighttime, you can think about your day tomorrow. Or even if it's the middle of the day and you haven't done this, stop and do this work so you can have the most productive rest of your day that you can. So is there anything causing me stress, anxiety, or overwhelm? And if so, what is it so I can release it right now? Just tune into your body, feel into your body, and let the answers come to you. And then we'll start tapping on the karate chop point.
Okay, and I invite everyone who's listening to rate that anxiety on the 0 to 10 scale so we can see the shift. And Alex, I'll be tapping along with you, and I encourage those who are listening to also tap along and to also repeat after you.
Awesome. Yeah, that's a really good reminder. Every time we should always be rating ourselves from that 0 to 10 scale. And pick, if you're feeling some stress and anxiety and some overwhelm, pick the one that's strongest for you right now and rate that one from 0 to 10. That way you can see how you feel after the tap.
Right. So we don't do all the emotions at once. It's really good to be very specific.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Yeah.
So starting on the karate chop point, even though I feel all this stress and overwhelm right now,
even though I feel all this stress and overwhelm right now,
I acknowledge how I feel.
I acknowledge how I feel.
Even though I feel all this stress and overwhelm,
even though I feel all of this stress and overwhelm
about all the things I have to get done,
about all the things I have to get done,
I acknowledge and accept that this is how I feel.
I acknowledge and accept that this is how I feel.
Even though I feel all this stress and overwhelm,
even though I feel all of this stress and overwhelm
about all the things going on in my life,
about all the things going on in my life,
I acknowledge that this is how I feel right now.
I acknowledge that this is how I feel right now.
And we'll go to the eyebrow point. All of this stress.
All of this stress.
Side of the eye, there's so much going on in my life.
There's so much going on in my life.
Under the eye, so much going on at work.
So much going on at work.
Under the nose, so much going on at home.
So much going on at home.
On the chin, so much going on with the people in my life.
So much going on with the people in my life.
Collarbone point, and it can be hard to manage.
And it can be hard to manage.
Under the arm, it can all feel so overwhelming.
It can all feel so overwhelming.
Top of the head, I understand why I'm so stressed.
I understand why I'm so stressed.
Eyebrow point, I acknowledge that this is how I feel right now.
I acknowledge that this is how I feel right now.
Side of the eye, but I want to find a different way forward.
But I want to find a different way forward.
Under the eye, I want to release some of this overwhelm.
I want to release some of this overwhelm
under the nose and bring peace into my body.
and bring peace into my body.
Chin point, I want to bring peace into my body.
I want to bring peace into my body.
And as we do this tapping, just pause for a moment and just feel into your body where you're feeling this stress or this overwhelm. And on the collarbone point, even though I feel all this overwhelm in my, and then just fill in the blank.
Even though I feel all this overwhelm in my,
under the arm, even though I feel all this overwhelm in my,
even though I feel all this overwhelm in my,
top of the head, I want to bring peace to my,
I want to bring peace to my
eyebrow point. I'm allowing peace and stillness into my body.
I'm allowing peace and stillness into my body.
Side of the eye, I don't need to be controlled by this overwhelm.
I don't need to be controlled by this overwhelm.
Under the eye, I can acknowledge it and then release it.
I can acknowledge it and then release it.
Under the nose, I can allow peace and stillness into my body.
I can allow peace and stillness into my body.
Chin point, and know that everything is okay.
And know that everything is okay.
Collarbone point, I can take it one step at a time.
I can take it one step at a time.
Under the arm, and know that I will find the answers.
And know that I will find the answers.
Top of the head, I can allow peace and stillness into my body.
I can allow peace and stillness into my body.
And now we're going to go ahead and incorporate some of the positive emotions with that question we asked. So here's where you can kind of choose the emotion you want to have in a day. Sometimes I want to have more excitement. Some days I want to have more peace or stillness. So you can choose what you want to have. So we'll go to the eyebrow point. Today I choose to feel.
Today I choose to feel.
Side of the eye. Today I choose to feel.
Today I choose to feel.
Under the eye, I no longer have to be overwhelmed.
I no longer have to be overwhelmed.
Under the nose, I have a choice as to what I want to feel.
I have a choice as to what I want to feel.
Chin point, today I choose to feel.
Today I choose to feel.
Collarbone point, and I acknowledge that I have this choice.
And I acknowledge that I have this choice.
Under the arm, I no longer have to be controlled by this overwhelm.
I no longer have to be controlled by this overwhelm.
Top of the head, I can release it one moment at a time.
I can release it one moment at a time.
Eyebrow point, I can allow myself to feel.
I can allow myself to feel.
Side of the eye, because I am in control of how I want to feel.
Because I am in control over how I want to feel.
Under the eye, releasing all of this stress and anxiety.
Releasing all of this stress and anxiety.
Under the nose, I'm so excited to be able to choose my emotion today.
I'm so excited to be able to choose my emotion today.
Chin point, and know that everything will be okay.
And know that everything will be okay.
Collarbone point, I'm allowing myself to release all of this stress and overwhelm.
I'm allowing myself to release all of this stress and overwhelm.
Under the arm, and know that I am safe.
And know that I am safe.
Top of the head, and know that everything is okay.
And know that everything's okay.
And stop and take a deep breath in. Just allow that. I'm sure you can feel the same thing I do, Jess. You feel that stillness, you feel that peace and tranquility, and that is such a powerful place to be able to start our day from. It's what allows our brain to come online. It's what allows us to be more creative. It allows us to kind of hit pause on some of the other challenges that we're dealing with in the rest of our life, or the overwhelm about how much we have to get done. It allows us to reset our nervous system, and kind of, it's like a reboot for our nervous system and for our brain.
Yes, that makes sense. And that was great. I love how you gave us that space to fill in what exactly we were feeling and where we were feeling it. For those who want to do this process on their own, if they upgrade, they get the workbook so they can follow along with you anytime they need some extra support. If they're doing it completely on their own, what advice do you have for people who are wondering whether they're saying the right thing and doing the tapping correctly on their own?
Well, that's the beautiful thing about tapping is that you really can't mess it up. It's really about expressing whatever comes up. It's not about finding the right words or as if it's some magic script or playbook that you need to have. Just allow the words to come out. Trust your intuition. Acknowledge how you're feeling at the moment and acknowledge why you might be feeling it if you have, things that are stressing you out that are specific. And then as you bring down those triggers, then choose to feel how you want to feel in that day. And that could be whatever you want. I mean, the reason I gave that option and that choice is because I definitely have days where I have to bring different emotions up. So if I'm doing a lot of writing, I want to be more calm and peaceful. If I'm going to be doing more video recording or speaking, I want to get more excited and energized. And so it's important to actually have the space to create and have those choices in terms of what we want to feel in a day.
Right. I love having those clear intentions. So we learned step one. That is step two with that tapping. Tell us about step three.
Awesome. Okay, so step number 3 is to release self-doubt and self-judgment. So this is all about how we view ourselves. So what is that internal dialogue that we have? What are we saying to ourselves? How are we being critical to ourselves? How are we not believing in ourselves, or how are we afraid of how we're going to fail? Because so much of the sabotage we have in terms of moving ourselves from doing the tasks that make us productive to the ones that are make us busy are because we are doubting ourselves and doubting our ability to move forward. And so we just play it safe and don't push ourselves out there. I know, I'm sure you resonate with this, Jess, as an author and, having to put your work out there. There's a lot of self-doubt that comes in. And it's, the difference between those that are successful and those that are not, it's not that they don't have self-doubt or self-judgment or that they're not critical of themselves. It's that they do something to release that so they can actually continue to move forward.
I think that's a very, very important point, because where I see people get tripped up is they want to completely vanish their critical voice, or they want to completely heal every part of themselves that doesn't feel good enough. And the reality is that we are human, and when we're feeling vulnerable or tired or going out of our comfort zone to do something, these emotions come up. And I know, Alex, the two of us, we've been able to kind of become friends with and know other people who were incredibly successful. And it was so amazing for us to go, oh, wow, they're really successful. And they still sometimes have this voice that says, you can't do it. And the question isn't the point isn't to never notice that voice, it's to do something about it.
Yeah. As you said, I was talking to a friend a few weeks back whose book has sold over 1 million copies this year, and their book, they're running live events, and they're still scared and stressed, and they're doubting themselves and going, oh, should I be doing this? And we all have that experience all the time. And I think that if we're not putting ourselves out there, if you're not feeling that, it's because you're not putting yourself out there more. So know that self-doubt, self-judgment is perfectly natural. So it's just about how we actually go ahead and address that. And it's something I like to address on a daily basis, because if I want to do big things, I need to be believing in myself. I need to be pushing myself forward.
Right. So with that, I know you have some important questions.
Yep, just like with step number 2, I've got some questions that I ask myself in step number 3. And so the first question I ask, which is the negative question, is there anything that's causing me to doubt myself, my ability, or my goals today? And if so, what is it specifically so I can release it right now? And then the positive question is, and I'll read that negative one again in a minute. So the positive one is, what do I want to choose to believe about myself today that will empower me to be at my best? Because here's the thing, whether we believe in ourselves or don't believe in ourselves, we're right. It's all just opinion. So if we're going to have an opinion about ourselves, why not have it be a positive one that actually empowers us and moves us forward? And so again, we're gonna go ahead and do some tapping. So let's go ahead and take a deep breath in.
Well, but you did promise us that you'd go over the negative question again.
It's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm gonna do just a second. But I'm gonna tune in. So let's take a deep breath in and breathe out. And then ask ourselves that question. Is there anything that's causing me to doubt myself, my ability, or my goals today And if so, what is it specifically so I can release it right now? So think about all of that mind chatter that's going on right now, all the things going on in your life. Are there things that are causing you to doubt yourself, your ability, and your goals today? Just take another deep breath in. Just allow that to sink in. We're going to start on the karate chop point and tune in with what you have. And actually, before we start the tapping, tune in with that and rate yourself on a level of 0 to 10.
The intensity, maybe how true it feels.
Exactly. How true it feels, how true that belief is for you. So, if you're thinking, I'm not good enough today, if it feels really, really true for you, that's a 10. If you say that and you're like, nope, that's not true at all, that would be a 0. And, we all tend to be somewhere in there at any given day. So just rate yourself and how true that belief is for you. And then we'll start on the karate chop point. Even though I feel like I'm not good enough today.
Even though I feel like I'm not good enough today.
And I'm criticizing myself.
And I'm criticizing myself.
I acknowledge how I'm feeling.
I acknowledge how I'm feeling.
Even though I'm doubting myself today.
Even though I'm doubting myself today.
And my ability to get things done.
And my ability to get things done.
I acknowledge how I'm feeling.
I acknowledge how I'm feeling.
Even though I'm questioning my goals and dreams today.
Even though I'm questioning my goals and dreams today.
Because I'm afraid of failing.
Because I'm afraid of failing.
I acknowledge and accept that this is how I'm feeling.
I acknowledge and accept that this is how I'm feeling.
We'll go to the eyebrow point. I'm not good enough today.
I'm not good enough today.
Side of the eye. Maybe I'm not good enough every day.
Maybe I'm not good enough every day.
Under the eye. I just don't feel like I'm good enough today.
I just don't feel like I'm good enough today.
Under the nose, and I'm criticizing myself.
And I'm criticizing myself.
Chin point, I'm doubting in myself.
I'm doubting myself.
Collarbone point, and I'm doubting my ability to get things done.
And I'm doubting my ability to get things done.
Under the arm, who am I to do this?
Who am I to do this?
Top of the head, I can't get these things done.
I can't get these things done.
Eyebrow point, I'm just not good enough.
I'm just not good enough.
Side of the eye, so I'm going to play it safe.
So I'm going to play it safe.
Under the eye, I'm going to play small.
I'm going to play small.
Under the nose, because I'm not good enough.
Because I'm not good enough.
Chin point, I'm not going to do something that might hurt me.
I'm not going to do something that might hurt me.
Collarbone point, I'm just going to play it safe.
I'm just going to play it safe.
Under the arm, but maybe I don't want to do that.
But maybe I don't want to do that.
Top of the head, maybe I want to play bigger.
Maybe I want to play bigger.
Eyebrow point, what if I can release this self-doubt?
What if I can release this self-doubt?
Side of the eye, and allow some acceptance into my body.
And allow some acceptance into my body.
Under the eye, what if I could believe in myself?
What if I could believe in myself?
Under the nose, what could I get done in a day?
What could I get done in a day?
Chin point, because if I believe in myself.
Because if I believe in myself.
Collarbone point, or I don't believe in myself.
Or I don't believe in myself.
Under the arm, either way I'm right.
Either way I'm right.
Top of the head, so I want to choose to believe in myself today.
So I want to choose to believe in myself today.
Eyebrow point, even though I've been feeling like I'm not enough today.
Even though I've been feeling like I'm not enough today.
Side of the eye, and I've been criticizing myself.
And I've been criticizing myself.
Under the eye, and I've probably been doing it for a long time.
And I've probably been doing it for a long time.
Under the nose, I choose to forgive myself.
I choose to forgive myself.
Chin point, and allow myself to be enough just as I am.
And to allow myself to be enough just as I am.
Collarbone point, even though I've been doubting myself this morning.
Even though I've been doubting myself this morning.
Under the arm, I choose to find strength in myself.
I choose to find strength in myself.
Top of the head, even though I've been questioning my goals.
Even though I've been questioning my goals.
And we'll stay at the top of the head. And my dreams this morning.
And my dreams this morning.
I choose to believe in myself.
I choose to believe in myself.
And move forward anyway.
And move forward anyway.
Knowing I'm doing my best.
Knowing that I'm doing my best.
Stop there and take a deep breath in. And breathe out. That feels good, right?
It does. It feels really good.
It feels good to quiet that chatter. And some days that chatter is stronger than other days where we don't believe in ourselves. But just allowing ourselves to know that we're doing our best, that we can be enough just as we are, and that we can have some belief and courage in ourselves is so hugely powerful for us to actually get those big things done that move us forward.
And it's at the moment we accept the way that we feel and look at that self doubt, and instead of piling more judgment and criticism on the self doubt, we approach it with more love and compassion. It doesn't have the same power over us anymore.
Yeah, absolutely. Once we acknowledge it, we can release it. We can give it some, some love, some forgiveness, some acceptance. It takes away all the power and just allows us to choose how we want to feel about ourselves, how we want to believe in ourselves. It is just so powerful.
And it makes life so much easier.
So much easier.
So much easier.
So much easier.
So Alex, let's jump into step 4.
Awesome. Yeah. So we did step 1, creating clarity with our goals. Step 2, we worked on the emotions. Step 3, we worked on the beliefs and the self-doubt. And so step 4 is to release any fears of rejection. And this is a really big component. I know it's been a big component for me in my life. And I think that, in this society that we live in with social media, with all the comparison where you can look online and see that everyone else's life is perfect, or so it seems, and you can easily judge yourself, and then also just feel that if you put yourself out there, you're going to be rejected by others.
Right, because everybody has an opinion on the internet.
Everyone has an opinion, right? And it's amazing how opinionated they are and how mean they can be online, right?
Right.
So releasing the fears of rejection, especially if we're going to be so regardless of what work you do, whether you're having to speak in a meeting or share an idea with a boss or share a new idea or start a new business, wherever it is, when we're putting out what is vulnerable for us, what are ideas for us, there are fears of rejection that come up that hold us back, where we don't feel safe sharing and safe being our full selves. And so what I do in this process, again, I ask myself 2 questions, a negative question and a positive question. And so the negative question that I ask is, do I have any fears of sharing my ideas, speaking up, or being my full self today? Because I'm afraid I'll be rejected by others. And if so, what is the fear about so that I can release it right now? So that's a negative question. And the positive question is, how can I choose to be courageous today and interact with others in a way that serves them and serves me? And that second part of that question is really important, because I always find that when I'm worried about rejection, that I'm worried about how I'm going to feel and how people are going to judge me, when I can get outside of myself and think about how I'm serving others and how it's also serving me, that it takes away those fears of rejection so much. I always think that whenever we can think about others and service to others, as long as it's not over-serving, or as long as there's a balance between serving others and serving ourselves, that it's hugely powerful.
Yes, definitely.
So let's go back and we're going to do some tapping. So let's take a deep breath in and breathe out. And let's tune into that first question. Do I have any fears of sharing my ideas, speaking up, or being my full self today because I'm afraid I'll be rejected by others? And if so, what is the fear about so that I can release it right now? Just allow that to sink in. Do I have any fears of sharing my ideas, speaking up, or being my full self because I'm afraid I'll be rejected by others? Just tune into what's coming up for you. Is it sharing an idea at work, or who might reject you? What are you afraid to do? How are you afraid to be your full self because you're afraid you'll be rejected? And we'll go to the karate chop point. Actually, before we do that, let's actually tune in and measure where we are, measure the intensity. So if you're afraid of being rejected, how strong is that for you on a level of 0 to 10, where 10 is that you have just absolute trembling fear at the thought of speaking up or sharing your idea or writing that book or recording that audio or video or whatever it is that you do in your work. And 0 is like, no, I'm good. I'm ready to go. Let's do it. Just notice where that is. Notice where it is in your body if you feel it. A lot of times when we're afraid to speak up, we feel it in our throat or we feel it in our stomach or our chest. So acknowledge where it is for you right now. And we'll start at the karate chop point. Even though I'm afraid of speaking up today.
Even though I'm afraid of speaking up today.
I acknowledge how I feel.
I acknowledge how I feel.
even though I'm afraid of being my full self today,
even though I'm afraid of being my full self today,
because I'm afraid I'll be rejected by others.
because I'm afraid I'll be rejected by others.
I acknowledge and accept that this is how I'm feeling.
I acknowledge and accept that this is how I'm feeling.
Even though I'm afraid of sharing my ideas and my voice today,
Even though I'm afraid of sharing my ideas and my voice today,
because I'm afraid I'll be rejected,
because I'm afraid I'll be rejected,
I acknowledge that this is how I'm feeling.
I acknowledge that this is how I'm feeling.
Go to the eyebrow point. I'm afraid of speaking up today.
I'm afraid of speaking up today.
Side of the eye, it's just not safe.
It's just not safe.
Under the eye, I'm afraid to be my full self today.
I'm afraid to be my full self today.
Under the nose, because what will others think of me?
Because what will others think of me?
Chin point, I've been rejected in the past.
I've been rejected in the past,
Collarbone point, and I don't want that to happen again.
and I don't want that to happen again.
Under the arm, I'm so afraid of being rejected.
I'm so afraid of being rejected.
Top of the head, I am just so afraid of speaking up.
I'm just so afraid of speaking up,
Eyebrow point, but I want to feel different.
but I want to feel different.
Side of the eye, I want to feel safe being myself.
I want to feel safe being myself.
Under the eye, I so badly want to be myself.
I so badly want to be myself,
Under the nose, but it doesn't feel safe.
but it doesn't feel safe.
Chin point, but what if there was a way to release this?
But what if there was a way to release this?
Collarbone point, what if I could feel safe in my body?
What if I could feel safe in my body,
Under the arm, even if I was my full self today?
even if I was my full self today?
Top of the head, what if I felt okay if everything wasn't perfect?
What if I felt okay if everything wasn't perfect?
Eyebrow point, maybe it's not always just about me.
Maybe it's not always just about me.
Side of the eye, if somebody doesn't like what I have to say,
If somebody doesn't like what I have to say,
under the eye, maybe it's about them and not me.
maybe it's about them and not me.
Under the nose, what if it was okay to speak up?
What if it was okay to speak up
Chin point, and share who I truly am.
and share who I truly am?
Collarbone point, and sometimes people will love it.
And sometimes people will love it,
Under the arms, and sometimes they won't.
and sometimes they won't.
Top of the head, but maybe that's about them and not me.
But maybe that's about them and not me.
Eyebrow point, maybe I could be safe in myself.
Maybe I can be safe in myself,
Side of the eye, even though I've been afraid to speak up today.
even though I've been afraid to speak up today.
Under the eye, I choose to be courageous and share my voice anyway.
I choose to be courageous and share my voice anyway.
Under the nose, even though I've been afraid of my full self today.
Even though I've been afraid of my full self today,
Chin point, I choose to be courageous and show up as me anyway.
I choose to be courageous and show up as me anyway.
Collarbone point, even though I'm afraid of being rejected by others today.
Even though I'm afraid of being rejected by others today,
Under the arm, I choose to be courageous.
I choose to be courageous
Top of the head, and do what I believe in.
and do what I believe in.
Stop there and take a deep breath in. And breathe out. And again here, just with step number 3, step number 4, all of us have fears of rejection, whether it is somebody who is hugely successful or somebody that's just getting going in some new endeavor. These things always come up. It's not that they disappear, it's about how we deal with them on a daily basis, how we release them, how we bring up the emotions of courage to actually push forward and move ourselves forward.
Yes, that makes a lot of sense. And the truth is, I love how you said some people might like it or something like that. Some people might like it, some people might not. And you can't control other people's opinion. That's the quickest way to be miserable is
Yes,
to try
absolutely.
to control what other people think.
Absolutely. It's just like, trying to be friends. You can't be friends with everybody. Some people will like you because of your interests, and some people won't because they have different interests. We're all different. We're all people. Someone's going to love your idea. Someone's going to hate your idea. But you can be strong in yourself, knowing that you're doing your best, that you're growing, it's okay if you fail constantly and fail forward, knowing that you're going to grow and you're going to get there towards your goals, achieve your
Yes.
goals.
Definitely.
So step number 5 after this whole process is actually a repeat of step number 1. So step number 5 is actually to review your to-dos and make adjustments to your tasks for the day if needed. Because what happens is a lot of times in step number 1, when we're creating our list initially, we're doing it based on the emotions that we're in at that moment. Right? And so once we go through this process, we can go back to our to-dos and we can go, you know what? I mean, this one here and this one here, I was doing this just because I was worried that this person would be upset at me if I didn't get it to them today. So we can go back and go, well, what is in the best interest of me moving my goals forward so that I can push forward, so I can be more successful, so I can be more financially successful. So it's a review process on everything we've looked at so far.
I love that. So it's true. Once we do all this tapping, we gain more clarity. I have a question for you, though. If someone is waking up, they don't have a lot of time, but they maybe have like 10, 15 minutes. They want to do this process, and they look through the steps and they go, well, the fear of rejection isn't really resonating with me, but I definitely feel stressed and overwhelmed, which is step 2. Can they just go into step 2? And then review their goals?
So I would say 2 things with this. Number 1, it's always going to come up that you say, I don't have enough time for this. It's just like exercise. Oh, I don't have enough time for this. And I always find with exercise that when I exercise, I actually have more energy and more time. It's the same with this. Remember in the beginning, we said, oh, you can work 8 hours in a day and not feel productive, or you can work 4 hours a day and feel really productive. So it's a choice that we make in the morning, where even on my busiest of days, and believe me, I have so much stuff going on a daily basis that I still have to consciously choose and go, you know what, I'm going to carve out this 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes to do this work, because it's not taking away from everything I have going on. It's allowing me to be fully online, to be fully present, to actually get work done more productive. So I never find that it's taking away time. That's number 1. Number 2, yeah, you can absolutely, I mean, there are days where you'll check in and you'll go, to number 2 or number 3, and you won't have something strong for you. You go to number 4 and you go, oh, this is what's really strong for me today. So use your judgment and tap on what comes up for you, but always know that doing this process, checking in emotionally with where you are, always leads to increased productivity. It doesn't take away time from your day. It adds time to your day, because you'll be doing the right things that matter. You'll enjoy the process. You'll be smarter and more capable as you do it. And then at the end of the day, you will finish your day going, you know what? I was productive today. I feel good about my day, and I'm happy, because that is the goal, right? To enjoy our work and to enjoy it at the end of the day.
I love it. I think that's a great place to wrap up, because everything that we do here at the Tapping Solution is for people to have happier and healthier lives. So, of course, productivity is great, and we want people to have a lot of success. But like you said, and it's important to say it again, it's all about you feeling good.
Absolutely, Jess. Absolutely.
Well, Alex, thank you so much for being with us. This was a pleasure.
It was so much fun. I'm so glad I got to do this. And I mean, does it get any better than doing it with my amazing, amazing sister?
That's the nice things that you say when we're recording.
Oh, come on. I say nice things the rest of the time too.
No, that's true.
I say some mean things too, but I mean, that's part of what I have to do. That's my job. So.
This was great, Alex. Thanks again.
Thanks, Jeff.